Schopenhauer on art as escape. The philosophical landscape painted by Arthur Schopenhauer is often characterized by its stark realism and profound pessimism. At the core of his major work, The World as Will and Representation, lies the concept of the will, a blind, ceaseless, striving force that is the underlying essence of all phenomena, including the human being. This will is the source of all suffering, as its endless, unfulfilled desires trap us in a cycle of want, temporary satisfaction, and subsequent boredom, creating a constant, fundamental state of discontent. Schopenhauer saw life, driven by this relentless will, as an inherently futile and painful enterprise. However, within this bleak worldview, he carves out a unique and immensely significant role for art, not merely as aesthetic pleasure, but as a temporary, saving escape from the tyranny of the will and the crushing burden of existence. The mechanism of aesthetic contemplation. For Schopenhauer, the everyday perception of the world is purely utilitarian. We see objects only in their relation to our own will, their purpose, their cost, their threat, or their potential for satisfaction. This type of perception is driven by the principle of sufficient reason, which dictates cause and effect, space and time, and our own personal desires. Art, and the aesthetic experience it provides, is the only moment where this relentless chain is broken. Schopenhauer argues that the experience of art transports the spectator into a state of will-less perception. This is the key. When we truly engage with a work of art, a painting, a symphony, a poem, we cease to perceive the object as something related to us and our needs. We lose ourselves in the contemplation of the object purely as it is. In this moment, the object is no longer seen as a particular thing in a specific time and place, but as a manifestation of the Platonic idea. The Platonic idea, in Schopenhauer's adaptation, is the eternal, timeless, essential form that underlies all particulars of a species or kind. For instance, when looking at a perfectly rendered portrait, we don't just see this person's face, but the idea of human beauty, or humanity itself. In this state of contemplation, the subjective self, the self defined by its desires, fears, and personal will, is momentarily extinguished. The spectator becomes a pure, will-less subject of knowing, a mirror of the object. This is a brief, blissful suspension of the self, a sabbath from the servitude to the will. Because the source of all our pain is the will and its striving, the temporary cessation of its activity is synonymous with the temporary cessation of suffering. This state is, in effect, a mini-nirvana, a profound metaphysical release. The hierarchy of art forms. Schopenhauer establishes a distinct hierarchy among the arts based on their capacity to reveal the Platonic ideas and thus facilitate the will-less state. Architecture, landscaping, and hydrography. These are at the lowest rung, as they only serve to reveal the lowest Platonic ideas, such as the ideas of gravity, cohesion, rigidity, and light. They are beautiful, but their contemplation is less profound and more easily tainted by utilitarian concerns. Sculpture and painting. These represent the idea of the human being in its various forms, from physical beauty to the expression of inner character. Sculpture captures the idea of man in general, while painting can capture the subtleties of emotion and transient thought. They are more effective at moving the spectator toward will-lessness. Poetry. Poetry, particularly tragedy, reveals the ideas of human life itself, the universal struggles, conflicts, and ultimate resignation inherent in existence. Tragedy is the highest form of poetry because it shows the will at its most potent and destructive, yet the contemplation of this ultimate suffering, paradoxically, leads to the deepest sense of resignation and calm detachment in the spectator, offering a profound escape. Music, the supreme escape. Music holds a completely unique and supreme position in Schopenhauer's aesthetics. Unlike all other arts, which are representation of the Platonic ideas, the objectification of the will, music is a direct representation of the will itself. Music bypasses the ideas entirely and speaks directly to the essential striving, pain, and joy of the underlying world will. It is not an image of something, but an image of the will's essence. The different scales, keys, tempos, and harmonies correspond directly to the will's fundamental movements. The bass notes represent the lowest stages of the will's objectification, such as the fundamental nature of inorganic matter. The melody is the most immediate expression of the will, representing the conscious striving and inner life of the individual. The overall harmony represents the complete unity of all strivings. Because music does not represent a particular thing or event, it is the purest form of will-less contemplation. When listening to a profound piece of music, we are not dwelling on our own specific sorrows or joys, but experiencing the pure form of sorrow or the pure form of joy itself. This complete detachment from the particularity of our personal life makes music the most effective and sublime form of escape. It is a universal language that, for a precious few moments, allows the listener to transcend their individuality and gaze into the heart of the cosmic process without being dragged down by its suffering. Conclusion: the momentary salvation. Schopenhauer's philosophy offers two paths to escape the torment of the will: the ultimate, permanent path of asceticism, denial of the will, leading towards nirvana, and the temporary, accessible path of art. Art does not destroy the will, but it allows the striving individual to step off the cosmic treadmill for a moment. This is a fleeting but precious state of grace, a moment of profound, objective peace where the individual is freed from the chains of desire, fear, and selfhood. Art, therefore, becomes not just a cultural ornament, but a vital spiritual necessity, a momentary sanctuary in a world defined by meaningless suffering. It is a glimpse of the peace that lies beyond the striving, a testament to the power of pure, disinterested knowledge. If you found this exploration of Schopenhauer's unique perspective on art and its escape from the will insightful, remember to hit that like button to let me know you enjoyed the deep dive. Subscribe to the channel for more philosophical journeys, and don't forget to drop a comment below with your thoughts. What piece of art offers you the greatest escape from the everyday struggle? I'd love to hear your experiences. X.